The day before our engagement, my rich second-generation girlfriend, Grace Han, was absent-minded while shopping with me. I bought a 6 yuan fried chicken cutlet from a street stall and held it to her mouth. She threw it to the ground, furious. Domingo. The Han family needs someone who can be presentable on stage. Don't buy these cheap things that only embarrass me. How are my parents supposed to accept you? Awkwardly, I picked up the chicken cutlet and tossed it into the trash can. For the sake of our 4 years of college love, I nodded. Whatever you say. I thought that would be the end of it. But the next day she changed the person she was getting engaged to, Jordan. Domingo. Jordan tried to commit suicide just to be with me and ended up in the hospital. When he gets back to normal, I will definitely return to you. I still nodded and broke up with her. Whatever you say. Then I turned and left. 4 years later, she showed up at my small apartment with the diamond ring I once used to propose to her. Domingo. Jordan has agreed to divorce me. We can be together now. I told you. As long as Jordan could let go of his obsession with me and stop hurting himself, I would return to you. I frowned at Grace's deeply affectionate expression, thinking that I really must not have checked the almanac before leaving the house today. I had only returned to this small place on a whim to pick up some things. Yet I still ran into this mentally unstable ex-girlfriend. I pushed her out the door. Move aside. Don't make me late to pick up my kid from school. Chapter 1. Grace followed behind me. I checked everything. In these 4 years, no other woman has ever set foot in this cabin. Where did your kid come from? I know you're angry. I'll take you home with me right now. Even though your family is poor and relies on raising chickens to get by, I've already convinced my parents they won't look down on you anymore. I turned my head and frowned at her. I told you. My family raises chickens across several whole mountains. Grace scoffed. That's still chicken raising. Don't you dare mention that in front of my parents. It's way too low class. Forget it. There's no way to reason with a spoiled rich second-generation princess like her. She has no idea how valuable naturally raised, free-range organic chickens over entire mountains are. We became wealthy from that long ago. I quickened my pace. If I didn't hurry, I'd be late picking up my son from school. Grace Han trailed after me. I can take you back to the Han house right now. The villa is big. Even though Jordan hasn't moved out yet, it's big enough for you too. But you need to be polite to him. He's sensitive. Be patient with him. Don't trigger him. What the hell? I stared at Grace in shock. You haven't even divorced yet, and you're out here bothering me, and you want me to live with you and your current husband. What do you take me for? Your side guy or some pathetic pretty boy you keep around? Are you out of your mind? I opened the car door and got in, wanting to get as far away from her as possible. She opened the passenger side door without hesitation and sat down herself, muttering, I told you before, lock the doors as soon as you get in the car. Safety first. How are you still this careless? Her tone was so familiar, just like 4 years ago, as if nothing had ever happened. Looking at Grace glued to me step by step, a surge of anger shot straight up my spine. Get out, now. But she buckled her seatbelt, wearing a smug expression like she was about to expose me. Aren't you going to pick up your kid? Drive then. You'll be late. I glanced at the time. I really was running out of time. If everyone else left and only my son was still waiting, he would be heartbroken. I stepped on the gas and pulled out of the garage. Frowning, I said, when you see my son, don't say anything stupid. Grace casually agreed. Fine, I won't. Domingo, you're really putting on quite the act. I'd love to see where you're planning to pull a son out from. Driving. I forced myself to calm down, stopped at a red light. I looked at the crowded traffic ahead. Grace, why do you think after 4 years, I would still be waiting for you? My low voice made Grace freeze for a moment. A flicker of unease crossed her mind, but it was quickly replaced by her usual certainty. After you've seen me, how could anyone else possibly catch your eye, other than me? Who else with real class would you even meet? If you weren't waiting for me, who could you possibly find? I let out a long sigh. So that's how it is, in her mind. I'm someone who doesn't deserve anything better. That's why she left without hesitation back then, and came back now with full confidence. The light turned green. I stepped on the gas. As we passed the intersection, I said quietly, Grace, I'm not joking with you. I'm married, and I have a child. When the car stops, you should go. I don't want you disturbing my life now. Grace frowned slightly. Domingo, you think you can fool me like that? I know you're mad. However you want to lash out, I'll stay with you until you're done and willing to come back to me. Chapter 2. Since talking couldn't convince her, then I would just let her see it with her own eyes and give up once and for all. Daddy, why are you so late today? My son opened his arms and ran to me with a sweet smile. Daddy went back to the old home to pick up some things today and made you wait. How about Daddy makes it up to you by taking you to eat some fries later? Okay. My son hugged me happily. Grace never expected that I would actually bring a little kid back with me. Her face suddenly changed. Domingo, even if you're joking, there should be a limit. How can you just hold someone else's child like that? If this gets serious, it's called child abduction. You could go to jail, you know. Hurry up and send him back. Grace angrily grabbed my son's arm, trying to take him away. I quickly slapped her hand away and pulled my son into my arms. What are you doing? The kindergarten teacher saw us and walked over. Ah, this must be Tom's mother. I've always only seen Tom's father. I've never met you before, finally meeting the mother now. Grace froze when she heard that and stared at me in shock. He's really your son? Of course. I was about to leave with my son, but she blocked me. She stared straight at the teacher. How old is this child now? He's 3 this year. 3. Grace looked at the child who was half a head taller than the other kids, then suddenly grabbed my hands tightly. Domingo. His age is fake, right? He should be 4. The child we had back then, he didn't die, right? You hid him, didn't you? I looked at her calmly. If that child were still alive back then, would you still have married Jordan? Grace choked, then frowned and lowered her head. Jordan would have died if he didn't marry me. I let out a cold laugh. You're not worthy of mentioning our child again. Domingo, I'm taking you and our son home right now. My parents have been wishing for me to have a child all these years. If you bring our son home, they definitely won't care about our different backgrounds anymore. I almost rolled my eyes to the sky. Who wants to go back with you? I said he's not your child. Do you not understand human language? Domingo, stop making trouble. I will never allow the bloodline of the Han family to be left wandering outside. Why didn't you tell me earlier? How could you let our child attend a school like this, in such a shabby and crowded place? How can a child be properly educated like this? I glanced at the kindergarten, then at Grace. This is a provincial model kindergarten that can directly advance a child into top primary, middle, and high schools. Do you even understand the value of a provincial top school? It's far better than that so-called noble school of yours where kids just waste time. I specifically had Sabine transfer my son here because I didn't want him picking up the arrogance and entitlement of those spoiled rich kids. I never expected Grace to look down on it like this. Honestly, I'm relieved I never married someone with such short-sighted vision. Stay away from us. You have nothing to do with this, I said coldly. If he's not my son, then whose could he be? Grace grabbed Teacher Wong. Tell me, the mother listed in the child's file. Who is it? Because I didn't want to reveal our identity. The mother field had never been filled in, so the teacher didn't know who the child's mother was. When Grace heard that the mother field was empty, she became even more convinced that the child was hers. Domingo, it hasn't been easy for you to raise our son alone all these years. You've been stubborn long enough. Come home with me. My son didn't understand why we were arguing. He only whispered softly in my ear, Daddy, aren't we going to eat fries? Grace reacted as if she had just heard something outrageous and suddenly exploded. Domingo, how could you let my son eat that kind of garbage food? You used to love those cheap fried chicken cutlets from roadside stalls, and now you're feeding my son things that are dirty and unhealthy. What if he gets sick? Can you take responsibility for that? He's the only heir of the Han family. I make fries at home using a nanny who cooks them especially for my little boy. How is that unhygienic? I ignored Grace Han and carried my son toward the car, but Grace blocked the car door. Don't sit in that broken car of yours. My son shouldn't be wronged like that. To avoid attracting attention, I deliberately chose a modest, ordinary-looking car. It wasn't luxurious, but the back seat had been completely remodeled to be the safest and most comfortable for my son. If Grace had even taken one glance inside the back seat just now, she would have noticed I had a child and that I protected him well. But she had never cared about anything of mine, not once. She simply pointed at her Mercedes and said, Domingo, stop pretending you're fine. Only I can give you and the child the best life. Just as she said that, Jordan walked over wearing a tailcoat, looking entirely out of place on this bustling street. He lifted his steps delicately in disgust, frowning slightly. Grace, didn't you go pick up Domingo? What are you doing here? After you're done, you still have to come with me to meet the mysterious new chairman of the Ning Corporation. Grace's expression softened the moment she saw him, and she spoke gently. I remember. Jordan, don't worry, I won't forget your matters. Domingo has a little situation to deal with here. I'll go with you afterward to meet Sabine. You're so handsome and charming. She'll definitely like you and agree to marry you, becoming Sabine Ning's husband. The Ning family is the #1 family in a city. They're much more powerful than our Han family. Jordan, you'll definitely be happy. I'll settle things quickly. Wait for me. All right. I froze for a moment when I heard their conversation. Were they talking about what I thought they were? Jordan supporting Grace in finding her ex-boyfriend, and Grace helping Jordan find a new partner. The key point is, this Sabine, don't tell me they're talking about my wife. Chapter 3. My expression grew complicated as I looked at Jordan. This guy really had it out for me. I mean, I'm just way too charming, Jordan said proudly. But when he turned around and saw me holding a child, he instantly let out a shriek. Domingo, this kid is. Grace panicked and rushed to explain. He's my son. Jordan, let me explain. It was as if Jordan had been struck by lightning. He suddenly clutched his chest dramatically. Grace, you had a child with him behind my back. You could have abandoned me back then, but why did you betray me? You never touched me all this time. Was it all because of this father and son? Seeing him look so hurt, Grace hurried to comfort him. Jordan, it's not what you think. It was before we got married. You know I had a premature baby with him. He was terrified of being poor and losing me, so he secretly hid the child to tie me to him. I only found out today. Jordan, don't lower yourself to her level, okay? Jordan pointed at me in anguish. Domingo, how shameless can you be? You actually hid Grace's child all these years. Do you even have a conscience? My son didn't understand the meaning behind his words, but he recognized Jordan was scolding me. He pointed a tiny finger at Jordan's nose and shouted fiercely, "You bad guy. Why are you yelling at Daddy? You're awful." Jordan immediately raised his hand to hit the child. I spun around with my son in one arm and caught his wrist midair. Try laying one finger on my son. Grace grabbed my arm. Domingo, let go of Jordan. He didn't mean it. It's your fault for hiding the child from him all this time. How could he not be angry? Grace could say whatever she wanted about me, but no one was allowed to touch my son. I released Jordan's wrist only to slap him across the face even harder. I glared coldly at Grace and warned, "Control your men. If he dares hurt my son again, I'll make him pay 1,000-fold. You hit me." Jordan shrieked. "I'm still the man of the Han family. Grace Han is the current general manager of the Han group. One move from her and you'd be crushed. Don't think having her son means anything. The Han family still won't accept you. Even if I leave, the next master of the Han family definitely won't be you." I let out a cold snort. Only Jordan cared about such things. Ha! What kind of stupid Han family master? A dog wouldn't even want that. You called me a dog. Jordan wrapped an arm around Grace's shoulder, glaring venomously at my son. "Grace, look at Domingo now. What can the kid possibly learn by staying with him? You need to take the child back to the Han family for proper upbringing." Grace frowned as she looked at me. "Jordan is right. Give me my son. I can give him the best life. Don't even think about it." Seeing the two of them about to make a move, I immediately grabbed my child and ran toward the kindergarten. While running, I took out my phone and called Sabine. "Sabine, someone is trying to take our son. I'm at the kindergarten entrance. Come right now. Bring people." Grace chased after us. "Domingo, he's also my son. He must return with me to the Han family." Chapter 4. The crowd surrounded the entrance of the kindergarten, everyone turning to look. Someone recognized Grace Han. "Isn't that President Han? The female CEO of Maple Leaf Group, and the man next to her must be her husband. I've seen him on the news. No wonder we've never seen the kid's mother. So he's an illegitimate child after all. President Han clearly has a husband. And this guy still insists on being the homewrecker. Shameless. People like them actually go to the same school as our kids. It's humiliating. Yeah. What if they set a bad example for our children? Teachers, expel them immediately. We can't let our kids go to school with people like that." More and more people were shouting for an expulsion. I raised my voice at them. "He isn't Grace's son. She and I have long cut ties. She's trying to take my child away. Please, someone help me. If you don't believe me, I can call the police and let them decide." "Ha, aren't you just trying to use your son to cling to Grace? Your plan failed, so now you're panicking." Jordan sneered. "Grace is only taking back her own son. Filing a false police report is punishable, you know." Those who were about to help call the police slowly lowered their phones after hearing that. Seeing this, I could only call the police myself, but Grace suddenly reached out to grab my son. In the chaos, my phone dropped to the ground as I held my child tightly. Jordan stepped on my phone, crushing it, then swung his fist hard at my head. A sharp pain exploded in my skull. At the last second, I curled up in a corner with my child in my arms. The pain was blinding. I couldn't move for a long while. "Help," I called out weakly. Grace frowned in disgust. "Jordan only hit you once. How bad could it be? Stop pretending. So many people are watching. Don't you feel embarrassed?" My head was spinning. I wanted to defend myself, but no words came out. Jordan must have been wearing something hard on his finger, probably metal. All I could do was cling to the railing beside me, shielding my son with all my strength. Through the dizziness, I finally heard a familiar voice. "Domi, son, I'm here." Chapter 5. Sabine, who had just signed a contract, was dressed in exquisitely tailored haute couture that should have made her elegant and dignified. Yet at this moment she rushed toward me in a panic. Sabine gently touched my head in distress, only to feel something wet. When she lifted her hand, it was covered in blood. "Who did this?" Sabine roared in fury as she looked toward the crowd, instantly spotting Grace and Jordan. She yanked Grace toward her. "How dare you hurt Domingo? You must be tired of living." Grace was pushed against the wall, and Sabine slapped her hard across the face. Grace had intended to fight back, but after clearly seeing Sabine's appearance, she froze and slowly lowered her hand. "Chairwoman Ning, why are you here?" Jordan was startled and swung his fist toward Sabine. "Let go. Where did this shrew come from? Daring to touch Grace? Do you even know who Grace is? She could crush you with a flick of her wrist." But the aggressive Jordan was immediately blocked by Sabine's bodyguards. Seeing this line of well-trained human shields, his arrogance vanished instantly, and he discreetly removed something from his hand. Noticing the way he secretly took something off and slipped it into his pocket, Sabine immediately identified the weapon. "You're the one who hurt Domi." Sabine walked toward Jordan with murderous intent. He was held up by several bodyguards, his legs trembling uncontrollably. He wanted to run but couldn't move an inch. Grace hurriedly stepped in front of him. Domingo hit himself. It has nothing to do with Jordan. Jordan added guiltily. Exactly. He ran into something on his own. Don't you dare frame me. Who do you think you are? Laying hands on our President Han. Apologize right now, or we'll drive you out of a city. Someone shouted. Jordan, shut up. Grace snapped sharply, then glanced cautiously at Sabine. Chairwoman Ning, what is your relationship with Domingo? Chairwoman Ning, you're the Sabine Ning. Jordan's voice trembled. Chairwoman Ning, why are you here? We were actually planning to visit you tonight. He stared at Sabine, then at me, disbelief twisting his expression. He muttered. Sabine is Chairwoman Ning. Impossible. Isn't she single? Why would she stand up for Domingo? Jordan, as if grabbing onto a lifeline, immediately pointed at me. Chairwoman Ning, you don't know yet, do you? This man's child belongs to Grace. He's a liar. Please don't fall for it. Sabine said coldly. Two idiots, and you dare try to steal my son. I tugged at Sabine's hand. Sabine, come here. I can't hold on anymore. Sabine stopped bothering with them and, together with the bodyguards, hurriedly helped me and my son into the car. Sabine pointed at Jordan's pocket. Take whatever he has in there and hand it over to the police. Charge him with intentional assault. Grace was still stunned. Seeing the bodyguards reaching for Jordan's pocket, she stepped forward to stop them, even though she didn't know what was wrong with what he had. But the bodyguards didn't care. They shoved her aside in just a couple of moves. Jordan's legs were shaking in fear. Many people had witnessed today's commotion, and quite a few had recorded it. They all saw him hit me. If the thing in his pocket were taken by Sabine, he would be finished. Jordan suddenly broke free and sprinted away. Grace jumped in surprise, but afraid he would get hurt, she ran after him. The bodyguards chased them. In the scuffle, a steel knuckle duster fell out of the bag. The crisp metallic clang echoed on the ground. Grace stood frozen in place. Chapter 6. Seeing my face grow paler and paler, Sabine couldn't care about anything else anymore. Forget everything, head to the hospital first. With Sabine's order, the car sped away. Grace stared blankly at the blood-stained knuckle duster on the ground. You used this to hit Domingo's head? Jordan stammered. I was doing it for the Han family's child. Who knew he? Then Jordan suddenly realized something. What if that kid is a bastard? If he's Sabine's child, doesn't that mean you and Domingo were still together when they started seeing each other? Grace, Domingo betrayed you. Grace's brows knit tightly together. She clutched Jordan's arms and shook him. No, Domingo wouldn't betray me. He wouldn't. Like someone possessed, Grace drove wildly toward the hospital. My head wound was wrapped tightly as I lay on the bed. Sabine went to speak with the doctors, while the bodyguard stood blocking the door of the ward. The questions Grace meant to ask were swallowed back the moment she saw me. How are you? I glanced at her coldly. Are you blind? Jordan really went too far this time. He knows he was wrong. Don't hold it against him. I was beaten until my head was covered in blood, and I'm not supposed to hold it against him. If he doesn't care, I do. Sabine looked at Grace with icy contempt. Since you love him so much, then you can take my revenge alongside him. Get out. Hearing Sabine threaten revenge on Jordan, Grace suddenly panicked and hurried to explain. Domi, Jordan and I are only like brother and sister. I don't love him. The one I've always loved is you. I stared into her eyes. Grace, you're ridiculous. If you don't love him, why do you fuss over him constantly and even marry him? You claim you loved me, yet you abandoned me before the engagement and married someone else. And now you suddenly come back 4 years later. Grace, even the Olympics could be held once in 4 years, and then you remember me. You call that love? Grace's face darkened. And how much better are you? At least I told you openly. What about you? When did you start hooking up with her? Sabine suddenly slapped Grace hard. Say one more word of nonsense, and I'll ruin you right here. Grace covered her bleeding face and screamed at Sabine. I hit the mark, didn't I? Otherwise, how could you two have such a big child? I didn't expect that even after 4 years, Grace could still dump such filth onto me. I closed my eyes. Sabine, I don't want to see her or hear her anymore. The bodyguards immediately dragged Grace out. When Sabine returned, there was a violent chill in her expression. She spoke softly, comforting me. Don't waste your energy on people like her. I nodded lightly, and memories of my first meeting with Sabine resurfaced. It all began because of her billionaire father who adored countryside farmhouses. After he discovered my dad, a brilliant, almost legendary livestock breeder, the two hit it off instantly and became friends. Their whole family soon became regular visitors at our home. After Grace abandoned me, the normally cold Sabine changed completely. Her warmth and care pieced together the ruins of my broken heart. Before long, our families decided on our marriage. Sabine, for the rest of my life, you are the only one who moves my heart. In the business world, she was a powerful, decisive CEO, but in daily life, she would accompany me to eat at roadside food stalls. After Grace returned, Jordan no longer mentioned divorce. Not only had he lost Sabine Ning, the ideal next, better option, but he had also thoroughly offended the entire Ning family. There was no way he would give up the safe harbor of the Han family now. Grace, Sabine definitely won't tolerate me without you. How am I supposed to survive? Can you really bear to see me homeless? Grace's voice was cold. I'll give you everything you deserve from a separation. If you want this villa, I can give it to you too. I'm leaving. After saying that, Grace went upstairs to pack her luggage. Jordan burst into tears and hugged her tightly from behind. Grace, if you insist on bringing Domingo back, I can accept him, even his child. Domingo refused to return to you before because he must have been worried about the child. He got together with Sabine not long after leaving you. How deep could their feelings be? His family is so poor. How could the Ning family possibly accept him wholeheartedly? As long as you accept his child, he'll definitely still like you. I don't want to separate from you. The four of us can live together just fine. Domingo loves you so much, he'll definitely agree. Grace, who had been packing, stopped moving. She hesitated, turning back to look at Jordan. Really? Jordan nodded pitifully. As long as I can live with you, I can accept anything. Grace hugged Jordan excitedly. Jordan, you're right. I'll go bring Domingo back right now. Watching Grace leave in excitement, the gentle smile on Jordan's face slowly twisted into something cold. Grace, it's been 4 years, and you still don't have me in your heart. Why? If you won't give me love, then give me all the family assets. Chapter 7. I didn't let Sabine suppress the Han family. The rise and fall of a corporation affects far more than just the Han family. There are many employees whose livelihoods are tied to it. I am just a small person. I don't want to accumulate that kind of karma. A family like the Han family will fall sooner or later. There's no need to dirty our own hands. But our restraint made Grace believe that I still had lingering feelings for her. And Sabine also hesitated to take action against her. Domingo. Jordan has nowhere to go right now, so I can't divorce him yet. Grace shouted from outside the villa gate, blocked by the bodyguards. But he said he's willing to accept you and me being together. Grace seemed to have made a huge decision. She gritted her teeth and screamed, even if the child is yours and Sabine's, Jordan and I can accept him. I can be the child's mother. I know Sabine must be using money to force you to stay with her. You still love me, come back to me. I'll take care of you. Inside the house, Sabine, held back by me, clenched her fists and suddenly stood up, unable to tolerate it anymore. Grace is begging to die. This time, I didn't stop her. I had never intended to be someone who gets pushed around endlessly. She came to our door to bully us. Why should we endure it? Grace left with a limp, her nose bruised, her face swollen, and blood at the corner of her lips. If you dare pester Domingo again, it won't just be you who gets hurt. Your entire Han family, from people to the company, will suffer. Grace hobbled away, neither agreeing nor continuing to insist. She didn't show up again for the next half-month. Just when I thought she had finally given up, news about her suddenly reached me. She had been kicked out of the Han family's company. Jordan didn't divorce her. Instead, during the time she was busy harassing me and healing her injuries, he took advantage of his position as her CEO husband. He transferred all of Grace's shares and properties into his own name. In the past, Grace had been obedient to him in everything. People in the company were used to it, thinking it was just a loving gesture from the boss toward his spouse. But this time, Grace had no idea what was happening. Once the asset transfer was complete, Jordan ruthlessly threw her out of the company. In the villa, Jordan threw all of Grace's belongings out the door. Grace, you insisted on divorcing me for 4 years. Fine, I'll grant your wish. Get out of my villa. Grace glared at Jordan, furious. You bastard. Haven't I treated you well enough? You actually schemed against me. Jordan stood on the stairs, looking down at her with contempt. Grace, you've got it backwards. It's because I manipulated you that you treated me well. Otherwise, would you really have married me and abandoned Domingo? Everything you have now is from my planning. And you're nothing but a dog who eats from one bowl while eyeing another. You deserve every bit of this. Grace was thrown out of the villa in utter humiliation, carrying nothing but a single bag as she wandered the streets. Her heart was full of hatred for Jordan, and hatred for me. Chapter 8. 2 months later, when I took my child out to play, we were suddenly kidnapped. Someone injected something into my back, something unknown, and my whole body instantly lost all strength. My eyes were blindfolded, and with the last bit of power I had left, I held my son tightly in my arms, not daring to loosen my grip for even a second. Panic surged through me, my entire body trembling, but I could only whisper softly to comfort my child. The person who kidnapped me wore a mask and made no sound. The only thing I was grateful for was that she didn't try to snatch my son from my arms. Who are you? Are you after money? In the darkness, my voice trembled, echoing back at me in the empty space. She still didn't speak. How much do you want? You can take everything I own. If it's not enough, you can call my wife. He can pay whatever price you want. Just don't hurt me or my child. Still silence. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like it was clawing up my throat. I could only keep bidding higher. If you're afraid my wife will call the police, you can release the child first. Take me instead. Once you feel safe, we can talk. The person finally spoke, sounding unexpectedly delighted. You're willing to go with me? That voice. Grace. Yes. I knew Domi would recognize my voice. Grace gently removed the black cloth from my eyes. Once my eyes adjusted to the light, I immediately checked my child from head to toe before looking at Grace in shock. Grace was no longer the clean, sharp general manager she once was. Her white blouse had yellowed, the collar curled, her bangs covered her eyes, and she was pale and thin. What happened to you? Grace leaned her face close to mine. I shrank back in fright. Her bloodshot eyes stared at me, but she smiled. Domi, you still care about me. You still love me, don't you? What happened back then was all that bastard Jordan's scheme. He approached me on purpose, forced me to marry him. Everything was for my money. Domi, it was my fault back then. Give me another chance, please. I'll take you and your son away. We'll disappear together. Looking at Grace's twisted expression, I didn't dare make any sudden moves. Her mental state was clearly unstable. She grabbed my shoulders and shook me wildly. Domi, okay, please, we can live happily as a family. Will you? Yes, I will. I quickly shouted my agreement, and only then did she slowly calm down. Good, we'll leave now. Let's go. She began rummaging around the warehouse as if preparing things. My feet were locked to the chair with heavy chains. While she wasn't looking, I threw my necklace onto the ground and crushed it with my foot, activating the tracker inside. Sabine had prepared safety measures for me ahead of time. As long as I could keep Grace stable, Sabine would definitely find this place. Domi, let's go. Grace grabbed a bag and ran over excitedly, crouching down to unlock the chain around my legs. I was trying to figure out how to hide the tracker and stall for more time when a noise came from inside a metal box nearby. What was that? Grace frowned, her voice sharp. Ignore him. She pulled at me, trying to drag me away. Suspicious. I looked carefully at the metal box and noticed dried blood underneath it. Blood. I cried out in shock. Grace replied coldly. Still alive. Domi, he ruined our chance to get married. He deserves it. My whole body went cold, goosebumps rising all over my skin. Jordan is in there. What? What did you do to him? My voice was trembling uncontrollably, like a snapped thread. Grace was about to walk toward the metal box when a bullet suddenly hit her thigh, knocking her to the ground. I grabbed my child and ran as far as I could. Wife. Seeing Sabine again, I ran straight into her arms. The three of us held each other tightly, leaning against Sabine. All my strength finally drained away. Chapter 9. Grace was pinned to the ground by the police. My hands trembled as I pointed at the metal box. There's someone inside. The officer opened the box and gasped. It's Jordan, the men reported missing 2 days ago. He's still alive. Jordan had been tied inside the box, with multiple stab wounds all over his body, barely conscious. I covered my son's eyes, refusing to look again myself. Grace's hysterical screaming echoed in my ears. Why isn't he dead yet? The one who deserves to die the most is him. Domi, I avenged you. Did you see? Did you see? Sabine, let him go. Domingo is mine, mine. Sabine brought me and the child to the hospital for a full examination. Only after confirming we were unharmed did everyone finally relax. Her eyes were red, shaken to the core. She kept staring at me and the child without looking away, refusing to leave our side for even a second. When the three of us finally recovered from the crisis, we received the official police report explaining everything. After Jordan transferred all of Grace's shares and properties into his own name, he soon tried to liquidate them and planned to move elsewhere. Grace, thrown out and penniless, could never let Jordan go. She kept a close eye on him, waiting until he nearly finished cashing out. Then Grace kidnapped him, stole back all the assets, and stabbed him. She had intended to kill him to avoid being caught. She had planned to flee far away, and before she ran, she kidnapped me and my child. She wanted to take us with her. After hearing all this, cold sweat drenched my back. Sabine hugged me tightly. Don't be afraid. Jordan is now in a vegetative state. As for Grace, she'll spend the rest of her life in prison. She'll never hurt us again. Sabine held my hand as we stepped outside, bathed in sunlight. Feeling the warmth of her palm and the warmth of the sun, my body gradually thawed. It's all over.